From brutally murdering their family members to killing their best friend because of a video game, these 35 teenagers are set to spend the rest of their lives in prison. Number 1. Remy Cordova. On February 20th, 2021, a tragic incident occurred at the intersection of Colfax Avenue and Interstate 25 in Denver, Colorado. Pamela Cabriales, a 32-year-old mother and a real estate agent, was stopped at a red light when she became the victim of a fatal shooting. The events unfolded after a minor traffic collision between Cabriales' vehicle and another car occupied by 14-year-old Remy Cordova and his associate, Neshan Johnson. Perceiving the incident as an issue, Cordova allegedly sought approval from Johnson to retaliate. Johnson reportedly responded, "Do what you gotta do, that's on you." Cordova then exited the vehicle armed with a firearm and approached Cabriales' car. He fired multiple shots into her windshield, critically wounding her. Cabriales was rushed to the hospital, but succumbed to her injuries several days later, leaving behind her young son. The investigation revealed that Cordova and Johnson believed Cabriales had tapped their car from behind at the traffic light. This perceived minor incident escalated into a senseless act of violence. Cordova was apprehended shortly after the shooting, and Johnson was also taken into custody for his involvement. Due to the severity of the crime and Cordova's prior history, he was charged and tried as an adult, despite being 14 at the time of the offense. In November 2024, a jury convicted him of first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. The following month, Judge Daryl Shockley sentenced him to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years for the murder charge, and an additional 8 years for the attempted murder charge to be served consecutively. As of March 2025, Cordova has served approximately 4 years of his sentence. Number 2. Nicholas Prosper. On September 13th, 2024, in Luton, England, 19-year-old Nicholas Prosper executed a meticulously planned attack that resulted in the deaths of his mother, Juliana Falcon, his 16-year-old brother, Kyle, and his 13-year-old sister, Giselle. Prosper's ultimate objective was to carry out a mass shooting at his former primary school, aiming to achieve fame as one of history's most notorious mass murderers. Prosper harbored a deep fascination with mass shootings, extensively researching past incidents and formulating a detailed plan to carry out his own. He conducted surveillance of St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School, noting the schedules of assemblies and creating diagrams of classrooms with annotations of his plans for each. His ambition was to surpass the death tolls of previous mass shootings, including those at Sandy Hook and Virginia Tech. To execute his plan, Prosper forged a firearm certificate, enabling him to illegally purchase it from a private seller for £650. He selected Friday the 13th for the attack, a date he believed would add to the infamy of his actions. In the early hours of September 13th, he planned to murder his family while they slept, and then proceed to the school for the mass shooting. However, his mother, Juliana, confronted him after discovering the firearm, leading to a violent altercation. During the struggle, Prosper shot her. Giselle was found hiding under a dining table, having been shot. Kyle was shot twice and sustained over 100 knife wounds. Neighbors, alarmed by the commotion, contacted the police. Prosper fled the scene, hiding the weapon and additional cartridges in nearby bushes. After approximately 2 hours, he approached a police vehicle and was taken into custody. Upon arrest, Prosper displayed a disturbingly cheerful demeanor and inquired about school lockdowns. He pleaded guilty to 3 counts of murder, purchasing a firearm without a certificate, possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life, and carrying a bladed article in public. On March 19, 2025, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 49 years. The judge highlighted Prosper's calculated intentions and his desire for fame. As of March 25, 2025, Nicholas Prosper has been in custody since September 13, 2024, totaling approximately 6 months. Given the minimum term of 49 years, he will be eligible at the age of 68. Number 3. Ethan Crumbley. On November 30th, 2021, a tragic event unfolded at Oxford High School in Oxford Township, Michigan. Ethan Crumbley, a 15-year-old sophomore, is accused of opening fire on his fellow students, resulting in the deaths of 4 individuals and injuries to 7 others. At approximately 12:51 p.m. that day, Crumbley allegedly emerged from a bathroom within the school, carrying a semi-automatic firearm. He is said to have begun firing indiscriminately in the hallways, discharging between 15 to 20 shots from multiple magazines. Surveillance footage reportedly captures him moving methodically through the corridors, aiming at students. Law enforcement responded swiftly and apprehended Crumbley within 5 minutes of the initial 911 call. He surrendered without resistance, placing his hands on his head, and was taken into custody. The firearm, purchased by his father on Black Friday just days earlier, was seized at the scene. Subsequent investigations revealed concerning behaviors leading up to the shooting. Crumbley had previously been observed searching for ammunition online during class, prompting school officials to contact his parents. His mother allegedly dismissed the incident, texting him, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught." Additionally, on the morning of the shooting, a teacher discovered a note on Crumbley's desk depicting violent imagery and pleas for help, leading to a meeting with school counselors and his parents. Despite these warning signs, he was allowed to return to class without a search of his backpack, where the firearm was reportedly concealed. Crumbley was charged as an adult with multiple offenses, including 1 count of hate causing death, 4 counts of first-degree murder, and additional charges related to the shooting. He pleaded guilty to all charges. In September 2023, Judge Kwame Rowe ruled that Crumbley is eligible for life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, citing the premeditated nature of the crime and his continued obsession with violence. As of March 2025, Ethan Crumbley has been serving his life sentence for approximately 1 year and 3 months. Number 4. Aiden Fucci. On May 9, 2021, a tragic event unfolded in St. Johns County, Florida, involving 14-year-old Aiden Fucci and his 13-year-old classmate, Tristan Bailey. Tristan, a cheerleader at Patriot Oaks Academy, was reported missing by her family around 10 a.m. that Sunday. She had last been seen at home around midnight. Surveillance footage revealed that in the early hours of May 9th, Tristan and Aiden were seen walking together near their neighborhood. Approximately 2 hours later, Aiden was captured on camera walking alone, carrying his shoes. Later that evening, Tristan's body was discovered in a wooded area near a retention pond, not far from both their residences. The medical examination revealed she had been brutally used a knife on 114 times, with 49 wounds identified as defensive injuries, indicating she fought desperately to survive during the attack. Aiden Fucci was taken into custody on May 10, 2021. Shockingly, while in the back of a patrol car, he posted a selfie to social media with the caption, "Hey guys, has anybody seen Tristan lately?" displaying a disturbing lack of remorse. Investigators found blood-stained clothing in his possession, and a knife, believed to be the murder weapon, was recovered from a nearby pond. Initially, Fucci pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder charges. However, just before his trial was set to begin in February 2023, he changed his plea to guilty. On March 24, 2023, a judge sentenced him to life in prison, stating that the crime was committed in a cold, calculated manner. Given his age at the time of the offense, Fucci was not eligible for the death penalty. Under Florida law, his sentence will be reviewed after 25 years. As of March 2025, Aiden Fucci has served approximately 2 years of his life sentence. Number 5. Raymond Childs. On January 24, 2021, in Indianapolis, Indiana, 17-year-old Raymond Childs III fatally shot 6 members of his family following a dispute over his curfew. The victims were Raymond Childs Jr., his father, Kezi Childs, his stepmother, Elijah Childs, his 18-year-old brother, Rita Childs, his 13-year-old little sister, and Kiara Hawkins, his brother Elijah's girlfriend, who was pregnant. Both she and her unborn child, Chaos Hawkins, did not survive. The incident began when Raymond was reprimanded by his father for violating his curfew. An argument started, during which Raymond retrieved firearms from the home and systematically shot his family members. His 15-year-old brother, Xavier, was also shot, but managed to escape and seek help from neighbors. Raymond was arrested and charged with 6 counts of murder. He was sentenced to 360 days in prison. The sentencing took place on March 10, 2025. He just began serving his sentence. Number 6. Aiden Zellmer. On the night of June 7, 2017, a woman named Katie Zellmer called the Thornton Police Department to report that her 15-year-old son, Aiden Zellmer, and 10-year-old Kiaya Campbell had been missing for several hours. According to her, the two had left their home in Thornton, Colorado to go shopping, but never returned, and neither of them had a phone. She drove around searching for them, but found no trace of them. 10-year-old Kiaya was the daughter of Katie's boyfriend, making her Aiden's step-sibling. With 2 minors missing, the police launched a large-scale search operation. During the search, Kiaya's biological father spotted Aiden Zellmer walking alone on Fairfax Street. When questioned, Aiden claimed that he and Kiaya had been caught in a rainstorm while walking back home. He said they got separated, and he tried looking for her in the woods but couldn't find her. Police were immediately suspicious. Aiden's story had inconsistencies, and his movements didn't align with the locations he claimed to have visited. Surveillance footage later revealed that Aiden and Kiaya had been seen walking together at 8:50 p.m. in a back parking lot, but just 40 minutes later, Aiden was seen returning alone. The next evening, a resident discovered Kiaya's partially unclothed body in a greenbelt area about a mile from where Aiden had claimed they got separated. She had suffered severe blunt force trauma. An autopsy revealed that she had suffered blows. At that moment, Aiden Zellmer was still being questioned by police. When they informed him that Kiaya's body had been found, his demeanor changed. He started crying and became visibly agitated. However, when asked directly if he had hurt her, he denied any involvement and insisted that he had only left her behind because she was being annoying. Aiden's shoes and clothing were collected for testing. With so much inconsistency in his story, he was charged and taken to a juvenile center. There he confessed to a cellmate. He was officially sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years. He will be eligible for parole at the age of 57. Number 7. Thomas James Nearhouse. On November 22, 2023, in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, 15-year-old Thomas James Nearhouse brutally attacked and shot a homeless man, 39-year-old Jeremiah Waylon Hawkins. Around noon, at Security Plaza on South Hanover Street, Nearhouse confronted Hawkins. According to authorities, he accused Hawkins of assaulting his 16-year-old girlfriend. When the assault happened, Nearhouse reported to police that a homeless man named Jay was responsible for the assault. However, the girl's family chose not to pursue a criminal investigation. On the day of the shooting, surveillance footage and witness statements indicate that Nearhouse sought out Hawkins. The two engaged in a heated argument, during which Nearhouse brought out a firearm, reportedly belonging to his father, who ironically was the leader of a homeless advocacy group. Hawkins attempted to defend himself by swinging a tire at him, but Nearhouse fired a shot, striking Hawkins. After Hawkins fell, Nearhouse shot a second time, then he dropped the weapon and began to walk away. Bystanders intervened and detained Nearhouse until police arrived. Emergency responders transported Hawkins to Pottstown Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Nearhouse was taken into custody and charged as an adult with first-degree murder. He was arraigned and held without bail at the Montgomery County Youth Center. As of March 2025, Nearhouse has been incarcerated for approximately 1 year and 4 months. Given the gravity of the charges, if convicted, he faces a lengthy prison sentence. Number 8. Russell Burrell. On July 30th, 2012, in Providence, Rhode Island, 17-year-old Russell Burrell, along with his accomplices Quandle Husband and Donovan Hall, conspired to rob Michael Martin, a known street hustler and substance dealer. That evening, the trio approached Martin's apartment under the guise of a social visit. Upon entry, they encountered Michael Martin and Damian Colin. An argument started immediately. Burrell, armed with a Glock firearm, opened fire, fatally shooting both Martin and Colin. The gunfire startled Shamika Barros, who had been napping on the couch. Awakening to the commotion, she began to scream, prompting Burrell to turn, and also used the weapon on her, resulting in her death. During this violent episode, 3 young children were present in the apartment, but fortunately, they were not harmed. After the incident, law enforcement swiftly apprehended the individuals involved. Russell Burrell was charged with 3 counts of murder. In November 2013, Burrell pleaded guilty to these charges, and in December 2014, the Superior Court judge sentenced Burrell to 6 life sentences plus an additional 10 years. Specifically, 4 of these life sentences were to be served consecutively, with the remaining 2 concurrently, ensuring that Burrell would not be eligible for parole until his mid-90s. As of March 2025, Russell Burrell has served approximately 12 years of his sentence. Given the structure of his consecutive life sentences, he will remain incarcerated for the majority, if not all, of his natural life. Number 9. Samantha Grigg. On February 15, 2014, 19-year-old Michigan State University student Dustin Froka was found unconscious and partially clothed along a road near Lansing, Michigan. He was discovered by a passerby and later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Investigations revealed that Froka had been beaten and robbed by 3 individuals from Saline, Michigan: 18-year-old Samantha Grigg and Tyrell Bredernitz, and 16-year-old Brendan Heim. The trio had conspired to rob Froka, targeting him for his alleged possession of substances and money. On the night of the incident, Grigg drove the group to East Lansing, where they picked up Froka. They proceeded to various ATMs, compelling Froka to withdraw approximately $800. During the drive, Heim, seated in the back with Froka, began assaulting him with brass knuckles. In an attempt to escape, Froka either jumped or fell from the moving SUV, which was traveling between 45 and 60 miles per hour. Afterward, Heim and Bredernitz exited the vehicle to retrieve Froka's money and clothing before fleeing the scene. Following their arrests, the individuals faced various charges. Samantha Grigg, initially charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery, accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to manslaughter and unarmed robbery. She was sentenced to 6 to 15 years in prison and agreed to testify against her co-defendants. As of March 2025, Samantha Grigg has served approximately 11 years of her sentence. Number 10. Dexter Johnson. On June 18, 2006, in Houston, Texas, 18-year-old Dexter Johnson, along with accomplices Keithran Fields, Timothy Randall, and Ashley Irvin, embarked on a violent crime spree that resulted in the tragic deaths of 23-year-old Maria Apares and her 17-year-old boyfriend, Huingo. That evening, Maria and her boyfriend were conversing in his car outside his residence. Johnson and his accomplices approached the vehicle. They brought out and displayed their weapons. Then they forced the couple into the back seat and took off with the car, driving them around Houston while demanding money, credit cards, and ATM access numbers. After obtaining approximately $25 in cash and a credit card, they drove to a secluded wooded area. There, Johnson assaulted Maria in the back seat of the car, while her boyfriend was forced to listen, kneeling outside as the other accomplices taunted him. Afterwards, they marched the lovers 60 feet into the woods there. Johnson shot no, and Maria screamed and covered her face, at which point Johnson shot her also. The bodies remained undiscovered for 5 days until investigators, aided by information from one of the accomplices, located them. The group was implicated in another set of crimes they committed in a separate case. Johnson was arrested and charged with capital murder. The jury deliberated for 2 hours before convicting him. He was sentenced to death. As of March 2025, Johnson has served approximately 18 years on death row. His execution has been postponed multiple times. His current status remains pending further judicial review. Number 11. Conrad Schaefer. In July 2013, Osceola County, Florida, 15-year-old Conrad Schaefer, accompanied by associates Juan Muriel, Victoria Rios, and David Damas, went on a crime spree that resulted in the tragic deaths of 2 individuals. The spree began when teens began shooting randomly, targeting over 20 homes and vehicles, causing property damage, but no injuries. However, the violence escalated days later when 17-year-old David Guerrero was fatally shot while walking to work. Days later, the group invaded the home of 22-year-old Eric Rupnerine. The group pretended to just visit the victim. When they were let in, they robbed and brutally murdered the victim. After the incident, law enforcement swiftly apprehended the group. Schaefer, despite his age, was charged as an adult due to the severity of his crimes. He faced multiple charges, including first-degree murder. Schaefer pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His accomplices received different sentences. As of March 2025, Conrad Schaefer has served approximately 12 years of his life sentence without the possibility of parole. For number 12, Dylan Shoemaker. On March 19, 2013, in Springville, New York, 16-year-old Dylan Shoemaker was entrusted with the care of his girlfriend Ashley Smith's 2 young sons, 23-month-old Austin Smith and his 3-month-old brother. While Ashley worked a night shift at a local restaurant, Shoemaker was responsible for babysitting the children. During the evening, Austin became distressed and began crying. Shoemaker, in an attempt to silence the toddler, placed a material over him and struck it multiple times. He later admitted to slapping Austin and forcefully slamming him onto the floor during a diaper change when he tried to get up. These actions resulted in severe head injuries, which ultimately led to Austin's death. Throughout this period, Shoemaker was engaged in numerous text message exchanges. He attempted to arrange a meeting with another individual and discussed selling substances to friends. Despite Austin's injuries, Shoemaker did not seek medical assistance, choosing instead to continue his personal conversations. Upon Ashley's return from work, she discovered her son unresponsive, leading to emergency services being called. Austin was pronounced dead due to the injuries. During the trial, Shoemaker expressed remorse, stating, "I never wanted to hurt Austin. I never wanted Austin to die." However, evidence presented, including a recorded phone conversation with his mother where Shoemaker remarked, "I'm a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry, and they're going to feel sorry for me," led the court to view him as manipulative. The presiding judge sentenced Shoemaker to 25 years to life in prison, emphasizing that at 16, he knew right from wrong, and that his actions were a betrayal of the child's trust. In 2016, Shoemaker's sentence was reduced to 18 years to life. As of March 2025, he remains incarcerated at the Clinton Correctional Facility in New York, having served approximately 12 years of his sentence. Number 13, John Paul Freeman Jr. On August 26, 2012, in Niagara Falls, New York, 16-year-old John Freeman Jr. was taking care of 5-year-old Isabella Tennant at her great-grandparents' home. Freeman, a trusted family friend and neighbor, had been left to watch over Isabella while her great-grandparents retired for the evening, and her mother was at work. During this time, Freeman fatally strangled Isabella, resulting in her death. He then sought the assistance of his friend, 18-year-old Tyler Best, to conceal the crime. Together, they tried to dispose of Isabella's body and kept it hidden so no one could find it. The following morning, Isabella was reported missing, prompting a search by family members and law enforcement. Tyler, experiencing remorse, approached the police and disclosed the location of Isabella's body, leading to the swift arrest of both Freeman and Tyler. Freeman was charged with second-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. During the sentencing, he was given an opportunity to make a statement. He then turned slightly to look at the victim's family members and said, "I'm so sorry for all their family. I'm just sorry. I can't say anything else." He couldn't explain why he committed this heinous crime. He pleaded guilty to both charges and, on September 5, 2013, was sentenced to 22 years to life in prison. This sentence requires Freeman to serve a minimum of 22 years before he may be eligible for parole. As of March 2025, Freeman has served approximately 12 years of his sentence. He may be eligible for parole in 2034. This tragic incident deeply affected the victim's family, especially the grandmother of the victim, as she trusted Freeman and saw him as a harmless teenager. 14. Logan Tyler Mott. In November 2017, 15-year-old Logan Tyler Mott was living with his grandmother, 53-year-old Christina French, in Neptune Beach, Florida, while his father was away on vacation. During this period, Mott shot and brutally murdered his grandmother. He then attempted to conceal the crime by burying her body in a shallow grave in the backyard of their residence. After the incident, Mott took his grandmother's 2015 Dodge Dart and several firearms from the house and fled. He was reported missing, along with French, when they failed to pick up his father and his father's girlfriend from the airport upon their return. The Neptune Beach home was found ransacked, with the door open and firearms missing from their safe. Days later, Mott was apprehended near the Canadian border in Buffalo, New York, after making a wrong turn onto the Peace Bridge. He was driving his grandmother's car and was found in possession of 3 firearms, including 2 service weapons belonging to his father and a bloody knife. He was arrested and he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder as part of a negotiated plea agreement. Judge Bruce Anderson sentenced him to 15 years in state custody, followed by 10 years of probation. Mott received credit for 740 days already served. He was to serve the initial portion of his sentence in a juvenile facility until he turned 21, after which he would be transferred to an adult prison to complete the remainder of his sentence. As of March 2025, Mott has served approximately 7.5 years in prison. Number 15. Antonio Barbeau. On September 17, 2012, in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, 13-year-old Antonio Barbeau and his friend, Nathan Pape, also 13, formulated a plan to rob Barbeau's 78-year-old great-grandmother, Barbara Olson. Their intent was to obtain money and valuables to support their desire for financial gain. The boys armed themselves, Barbeau with a hatchet and Pop with a hammer, and proceeded to Olson's residence. Upon arrival, Olson discovered them in her garage and, recognizing her great-grandson, invited them inside. Once inside, as Olson turned her back to call Barbeau's mother, Barbeau struck her on the head with the hatchet. Overwhelmed by the act, Barbeau momentarily retreated to the bathroom. During his absence, Pop struck Olson multiple times with the hammer. Upon returning, Barbeau resumed the assault, delivering additional blows with the hatchet. After ensuring that his great-grandmother was deceased, the boys attempted to conceal her body by dragging it to the garage and covering it with a blanket. They then stole jewelry and approximately $150 in cash. In an effort to mislead investigators, they drove Olson's vehicle to a local bowling alley, left the stolen items inside, and abandoned the car, hoping someone else would be implicated in the crime. The following day, Olson's body was discovered by concerned family members. Investigation led authorities to Barbeau and Pop, who were arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Barbeau pleaded no contest to the charges and, on August 12, 2013, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 37 years. He may be considered for parole eligibility on November 24, 2048, his 50th birthday. As of March 2025, Barbeau has served approximately 12 years of his sentence. His accomplice Pape also received a similar sentence. Number 16. T.J. Lane. On February 27, 2012, at around 7:30 a.m., 17-year-old Thomas Lane entered the cafeteria of Chardon High School in Chardon, Ohio. Wearing a sweatshirt with the word "Killer" handwritten across the front, he carried a firearm. Without warning, Lane opened fire on a group of students seated at a table, striking several individuals. The victims were 16-year-old Daniel Parmertor, who died of his injuries shortly after the shooting, 17-year-old Russell King Jr., who died at the hospital, and 16-year-old Demetrius Hewlin, who passed away a day after. 3 other students were wounded, including Nick Walsack, who suffered injuries resulting in permanent paralysis. Lane fled the scene, but was apprehended by authorities near his parked car shortly after the incident. During his sentencing on March 19, 2013, Lane displayed a lack of remorse. He removed his dress shirt to reveal the same "Killer" t-shirt worn during the shooting and made obscene gestures toward the victims' families. The judge sentenced Lane to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. On September 11, 2014, Lane, along with 2 older inmates, escaped from prison. He was captured the following day, and the 3 men were transferred to a maximum security prison. As of March 2025, Lane has served approximately 13 years of his sentence. He remains incarcerated with no possibility of release. Number 17. Gavin Ramsey. In April 2018, the community of Wadsworth, Ohio, was shaken by a grievous crime committed by 17-year-old Gavin Ramsey. On the day of the incident, Ramsey entered his 98-year-old neighbor, Margaret Douglas, home through an unlocked door, a common practice in their trusting neighborhood. Once inside, he strangled Margaret, concealed her body in a closet, and covered her with clothing. Days later, her family reported her missing. Later that day, they all discovered her body, where Ramsey had hidden it. Investigators identified Ramsey as a suspect during an investigation in an unrelated local crime. A search of his home revealed Margaret's stolen wallet, photographs of her sleeping stored on his phone, and a journal detailing fantasies about strangulation. Ramsey was convicted and was charged as an adult. He pleaded no contest to the charges, leading to a guilty verdict. In November 2018, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. As of March 2025, Ramsey has served approximately 7 years of his life sentence. Number 18. Lacey Aaron Schmidt. On January 31, 2011, in Harlem, Georgia, 14-year-old Lacey Aaron Schmidt fatally shot his neighbor and former girlfriend, 14-year-old Alana Callahan, in her home. Schmidt had stolen a handweapon from Alana's father's bedroom prior to the incident. He entered the Callahan residence while Alana was at her computer and shot her in the back of the head. Schmidt then attempted to conceal the crime by dragging Alana's body into the nearby woods and initially claimed that an intruder had abducted her. Upon investigation, authorities found inconsistencies in Schmidt's accounts and discovered items belonging to the Callahan family in his possession. During the investigation, Alana's mother explained that her daughter and Aaron had dated previously, but their church pastor advised Alana not to continue with the relationship, as she wasn't of age yet for such a relationship. Alana listened and told Aaron that they can only become friends. This could also be the reason why Aaron committed the heinous act. He was arrested and charged with malice murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, and theft by taking a handweapon. In February 2012, Schmidt was convicted on all charges and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. As of March 2025, Schmidt has served approximately 14 years of his life sentence without parole. Number 19. Shondell Jackson. On July 6, 2009, in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood, 21-year-old University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee film student Nathan Potter was walking near his apartment when he was approached by 19-year-old Shondell Jackson and 20-year-old Derek Thomas. The pair intended to rob Potter. However, upon discovering he had no money, Jackson fatally shot him once, which resulted in his death. Following the incident, Jackson fled Wisconsin and was apprehended in Gulfport, Mississippi, on September 14, 2009. During his trial, Jackson displayed a lack of remorse, at one point smiling at the victim's family. Thomas, his accomplice, also said that Jackson shot Potter just because he didn't have any money on him. He was convicted of first-degree intentional homicide and attempted robbery. In April 2010, Judge Rebecca Dowlett sentenced Jackson to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The victim's mother expressed gratitude to the judge for the sentencing. As of March 2025, Jackson has served approximately 15 years of his life sentence. Number 20. Chalin Funes. On the evening of May 27, 2017, in Visalia, California, 18-year-old Chalin Funes brutally attacked 35-year-old Eric Fisher. The tragic incident happened when Eric Fisher attempted to intervene and break up a fight between Funes's boyfriend and another man who was walking his dog. During the confrontation, Funes, who was behind the wheel of her vehicle, drove and struck Fisher. During the investigation, eyewitnesses, including Fisher's wife, who was present at the scene of the crime with their 8-year-old child, gave police the full account of the incident. She told the police that Funes not only hit Fisher, her husband, once, but she also reversed over him and subsequently dragged him down the street. She said she pleaded non-stop for her to stop, but Funes continued and later fled the scene, and her child also witnessed the horrific hit and run. Fisher sustained severe injuries from the incident and was rushed to the hospital. Despite the medical team's efforts, Fisher died to his injuries later that night. The police, through the help of public tips, quickly identified Funes as the suspect. They located the vehicle she was driving during the incident. Funes was apprehended shortly thereafter. During the trial, the prosecution presented evidence detailing the severity of Fisher's injuries and death. The defense argued that Funes did not intend to kill Fisher. However, the jury found Funes guilty of second-degree murder, with the special allegation of using a deadly weapon, her car. She was sentenced to 16 years to life imprisonment. As of March 2025, she has been in prison for approximately 7 years. Number 21, Colton Glenn Orr. In the early hours of August 22, 2016, in Vinita, Oklahoma, 14-year-old Coalton Glenn Orr attacked and shot his father's fiancée, 38-year-old Laura Beth Hendricks, in their shared residence. The assault led to Beth's untimely death. After the incident, Glenn went to the police department and told them he needed a hug, and afterwards he told them that he just shot and killed his father's wife-to-be. He initially claimed that Beth abused him, but evidence proved that she never did. Following the incident, Glenn was arrested and charged as an adult due to the severity of the offense. In court proceedings, he entered a guilty plea to the charge of first-degree murder. The presiding judge sentenced him to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole, stipulating that all but the first 25 years of the sentence were suspended. This means that he is required to serve a minimum of 25 years before he may be considered eligible for parole. He will be 40 years by this time. Glenn's father broke down in tears in the courtroom as he gave his victim impact speech. Glenn also turned around and apologized to the victim's family, showing remorse. As of March 2025, Orr has served approximately 8 years of his sentence. Number 22, Philip Chisholm. On October 22, 2013, 14-year-old Philip Chisholm, a freshman at Danvers High School in Massachusetts, committed a heinous crime against his 24-year-old math teacher, Colleen Ritzer. After school hours, Ritzer had asked Chisholm to stay for extra help. During this session, Chisholm followed Ritzer into a restroom where he brutally assaulted her. After assaulting her, he brutally murdered her. To conceal his actions, Chisholm placed Ritzer's body in a certain container and transported it to a wooded area near the school, where he further assaulted her again and stole her credit card and other belongings. The crime was discovered when Ritzer was reported missing after failing to return home. Surveillance footage from the school shows all the activities and evidence of the crime, leading to Chisholm's arrest. During the trial, he showed no remorse for his actions, and he sat motionless. His lawyers argued that he suffered mental issues and needed a psychiatrist, but the judge boldly rejected their claims. The prosecution maintained that Chisholm knew what he was doing. In the end, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years. In 2024, Chisholm also pleaded guilty to a similar crime he committed against another woman earlier before attacking his teacher. He received additional 17 to 20 years to his sentence. Number 23, Dakota Lamar White. In the early hours of October 15, 2016, in Perry, Georgia, 18-year-old Samuel Poss received a message from his former classmate, 17-year-old Dakota Lamar White. White requested Sam's assistance with computer game coding, knowing Sam was knowledgeable in computers. Trusting his friend, Sam agreed to help and left his home to meet White. Unknowingly to Sam, White and another accomplice, 18-year-old Brandon Warren, had a deadly ulterior motive. Before carrying it out, they decided to experience what it felt like to kill. They chose Sam because of his helpful nature and the likelihood that he would come if called upon. Upon Sam's arrival at White's grandparents' home, he was ambushed. White strangled Sam, while Warren stabbed him multiple times. After ensuring Sam was dead, they transported his body to a wooded area in Houston County, commonly used for dumping trash, and left him there. When Sam failed to return home, his family reported him missing. A search ensued, and 2 days later, Sam's body was discovered in the woods. An autopsy confirmed that he had been strangled and stabbed multiple times. Investigators quickly identified White and Warren as suspects. White confessed to the crime and led authorities to the murder weapons. Both were arrested and charged. In May 2018, both White and Warren were found guilty on all charges. Despite White's age at the time of the crime, the court deemed him irreparably corrupt and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Warren received the same sentence. Samuel's father was very devastated by the death of his son, stating, "I think the betrayal is the hardest part, and knowing that someone used his own goodness against him, I mean, that's what pure evil looks like." As of March 2025, Dakota White has served approximately 8.5 years of his life sentence without the possibility of parole. Number 24, Racelyn Martin. On August 8, 2016, in Fayetteville, North Carolina, 17-year-old Racelyn Martin brutally murdered his 63-year-old grandfather, Joseph Emmett Nolte. On the night of the incident, Nolte's son, Joseph Ezekiel Nolte, was alerted by his father's cries and discovered him severely injured and dead in his bed, having sustained over 31 hatchet wounds. Martin, who committed the act covered in blood, was found nearby with the murder weapon. Investigations revealed that Martin had expressed intentions to harm his grandfather prior to the incident. Authorities recovered 107 pages of deleted text messages from Martin's iPhone, where he referred to his grandfather as kinda inconvenient and expressed a desire for his death. Initially, Martin contemplated poisoning, but later decided on using a different method. The grandfather had moved in with them after his wife passed away. He was described by his son as an inconsiderate man. After the incident, Martins was charged and he pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. As of March 2025, Martin has served approximately 9 years of his sentence. Number 25, Shane Thompson. On September 18, 2013, 17-year-old Shane Thompson and his accomplices forcibly entered a family's home on the east side of Indianapolis, near 21st Street and Post Road. Inside, they subjected the family to a harrowing ordeal, confining them at gunpoint. The mother was assaulted in the presence of her husband and 3 children after the incident. They fled. A week later, the trio targeted a gas station on West 38th Street and High School Road. During the robbery, Thompson shot and killed 45-year-old Evelad Ndiaye, a clerk who had been employed at the station for only 2 days. After the incident, they were arrested and charged. The court sentenced Thompson to 110 years in prison. As of March 2025, Shane Thompson has just served approximately 11 years of his 110-year sentence. Number 26. David Myers. In March 2014, a tragic incident unfolded in Buffalo, New York, involving 19-year-old David Myers and 52-year-old Brian Dombeck. Myers and Dombeck were close acquaintances, though the exact nature of their relationship remains undisclosed. On the day of the crime, Myers entered Dombeck's residence on Sirit Street. Inside, he fatally assaulted Dombeck using blunt force. To conceal the crime, Myers then set fire to the house, resulting in the death of Dombeck's dog as well. Following his arrest, Myers was charged with second-degree murder and arson. In October 2014, he pleaded guilty to these charges. By December 2014, he was sentenced to a prison term ranging from 15 years to life. As of March 2025, David Myers has served approximately 10 years and 3 months of his sentence. He may be eligible for parole soon. However, the decision to grant parole will depend on various factors assessed by the parole board at that time. Number 27. Timothy Mosley. On January 28, 2014, 19-year-old Timothy Mosley and his friend Austin Myers devised a plan to rob and murder Justin Back, aiming to steal valuables from his home. On the day of the crime, under the pretense of wanting to hang out, they visited Back's residence. Once inside, Myers distracted Back while Mosley attempted to strangle him. The attempt failed, leading to a struggle. During the altercation, Mosley resorted to using a pocket knife. He used the knife on Back for over 21 times. During this brutal attack, Back pleaded for his life, but his assailants did not listen. After the murder, Mosley and Myers meticulously cleaned the crime scene to eliminate evidence. They wrapped Back's body in a blanket and transported it to a remote wooded area in Preble County and abandoned it. The disappearance of Justin Back quickly drew the attention of local law enforcement. Investigations led authorities to Mosley and Myers, whose stories were inconsistent and suspicious. Confronted with evidence, Mosley confessed to the crime. Timothy Mosley accepted a plea deal to avoid the death penalty and testified against his friend. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, and his friend received a death sentence. He expressed remorse during his sentencing. As of March 2025, Timothy Mosley has served approximately 11 years of his life sentence. Number 28. Brian Lee Draper. On September 22, 2006, 16-year-old Cassie Jo Stoddart was house-sitting for her aunt and uncle in the nearby community of Tyhee. That evening, her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, joined her. Later, 16-year-old Draper and his 16-year-old friend, Tori Michael Adamczyk, visited the house under the guise of hanging out. Unknowingly to Cassie and Matt, Draper had unlocked the basement door before leaving, intending to return later. After leaving, Draper and Adamczyk returned, wearing dark clothing, gloves, and white masks. They re-entered the house through the unlocked basement door. To instill fear, they disrupted the power by accessing the circuit breaker, hoping to lure Cassie and Matt downstairs. When this tactic failed, they restored some lights. Matt left around 10:30 p.m., leaving Cassie alone. The intruders cut the power again and waited. When Cassie didn't come downstairs, they ascended to the living room, where they attacked her and used the knife on her approximately 30 times. After 2 days, Cassie's aunt and uncle returned home and discovered her lifeless body on the floor. Police was contacted, and during the investigation, Draper and Adamczyk provided inconsistent alibis, claiming to have attended a movie, but theater staff confirmed they hadn't attended. Draper then confessed and took the police to where they had hidden the murder weapons. The police also recovered a videotape that revealed Draper and Adamczyk discussing their plan to murder Cassie, expressing excitement and detailing their intentions. In one recording, Draper stated, "We found our victim, and sad as it may be, she's our friend. But you know what? We all have to make sacrifices." Both were charged and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole and an additional 30 years. Number 29, Aidan Von Grabo. In November 2017, Longmont, Colorado, 15-year-old Aidan Von Grabo compiled a list he referred to as a death list, which included names of individuals he intended to harm. His list detailed methods of intended harm, indicating premeditation. On the day of the tragic incident, he went into the residence of 20-year-old Michaela Grote, reportedly intending to harm her younger sister, with whom he attended high school with. When Michaela answered the door, Von Grabo attacked her and inflicted fatal stab wounds. Her sister managed to escape and provided authorities with Von Grabo's identity. Prior to this incident, Von Grabo's mother had contacted authorities, expressing concerns about his behavior. She reported that he had damaged property and threatened her with a knife. Additionally, she informed investigators about his possession of various weapons. Von was apprehended and charged as an adult. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 40 years. He will be 57 years old when he may be considered for parole. Number 30, Louis Daines. In February 2014, 19-year-old Louis Daines committed the murder of 14-year-old Breck Bednar in Grays, Essex, England. Daines had initially connected with Breck through online gaming communities in 2013. He gradually established a manipulative and controlling relationship over several months. He promised Breck opportunities for wealth through a fictitious computer business and provided him with a mobile phone to facilitate their communication. Despite concerns from Breck's family and friends about Daines' influence, Breck traveled to Daines' flat on February 16, 2014. The following morning, Daines contacted emergency services, claiming that an altercation had occurred between them, resulting in Breck's death. Upon arrival, authorities discovered that Breck had been stabbed, with his wrists and ankles bound by duct tape. Daines had also submerged electronic devices in water in an apparent attempt to destroy evidence. In January 2015, Daines pleaded guilty to murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 25 years. As of March 25, 2025, he has served approximately 11 years of his sentence. Number 31, Deontay James Green. In October 2017, Tulsa, Oklahoma, experienced a series of violent crimes committed by 16-year-old Deontay Green. On October 1st, Green approached an 81-year-old woman and her husband outside their home. He forced them inside at gunpoint, compelled them to drive to a bank to withdraw cash, and upon returning to their residence, he assaulted the woman. Afterwards, he threatened them, making them not to call the police. Later that day, Green encountered the Anderson family outside their home. He forced them inside, unaware that Shane Anderson, a 44-year-old middle school teacher, was present. A confrontation started between Green and Shane, during which Green fatally shot Shane in front of his wife and children. These incidents were part of a broader crime spree by Green, which included multiple armed robberies, home invasions, and assaults. He was arrested shortly after these events. In March 2019, Green pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, assault, and 19 other felonies. In July 2019, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for the murder, plus an additional 290 years for the other offenses, some of which are to be served concurrently. As of March 25, 2025, Deontay Green has served approximately 5 years and 8 months of his life sentence. Number 32, Spencer Brian Lewis. On February 12, 2017, in West Allis, Wisconsin, 14-year-old Spencer Brian Lewis and a 13-year-old accomplice devised a plan to rob 17-year-old Trajan Edwards, believing he possessed some substance and cash. Lewis armed himself with his father's Glock firearm, while his accomplice carried a hammer. Under the pretense of playing video games, the pair visited the Edwards residence. Once inside, Lewis brought out the firearm, pointing it at Trajan's head. A struggle ensued, during which Lewis shot Trajan multiple times. Hearing the commotion, Trajan's 19-year-old brother, Corcian Edwards, intervened. Lewis then turned to Corcian and shot him multiple times. Corcian died at the scene, while Trajan succumbed to his injuries 2 days later in the hospital. Following his arrest, Lewis indicated that he needed money for some expensive clothing, and that's why he tried to rob them. Lewis was charged as an adult with 2 counts of first-degree reckless homicide and 1 count of attempted armed robbery. The victim's mother cried all through the court hearing and shared how she didn't expect that Spencer, who consistently visited their home and slept most of the time, could do such a painful act against her. Spencer pleaded guilty to amended charges of second-degree reckless homicide and attempted armed robbery. In April 2018, at the age of 15, Lewis was sentenced to 37 years in prison. As of March 2025, he has served 7 years of his sentence. Number 33. Taylor Lane Gwaltney. In the early hours of February 5, 2009, in Colorado Springs, Colorado, 55-year-old David Doyle, a homeless man, was sleeping on a pedestrian bridge over Interstate 25. At approximately 2:30 a.m., 18-year-old Taylor Lane Gwaltney approached Doyle and, without provocation, attacked him with a baseball bat, inflicting fatal head injuries. After the incident, Gwaltney reportedly started bragging about his actions. He told over 15 teenagers about what he did, referring to Doyle in derogatory terms and expressing pride in his actions. This behavior led to increased scrutiny from law enforcement. 10 days later, an arrest warrant was issued for Gwaltney. He was apprehended after a brief foot chase near Motor City Drive in Colorado Springs. During the trial, witnesses testified about Gwaltney's admissions and lack of remorse. The jury deliberated for 2 hours before finding him guilty of first-degree murder. On May 11, 2010, Gwaltney received a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. As of March 2025, Gwaltney has served approximately 15 years of his life sentence. Michael and Robert Bever. In the late hours of July 22, 2015, in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, 16-year-old Michael Bever and his 18-year-old brother, Robert Bever, executed a meticulously planned heinous attack on their family. The brothers wanted to be known as serial killers, with aspirations to continue their killing spree beyond their household. The tragic event began when the brothers lured their 13-year-old sister into a room under the pretense of showing her something on the computer. Robert attempted to slit her throat, but she managed to escape, alerting her younger siblings to hide. Michael chased her, subdued her, and inflicted severe injuries. Though she survived, the brothers then attacked and murdered their parents. Their 44-year-old mother, April Bever, suffered over 48 stab wounds, and their 52-year-old father, David Bever, also suffered over 28 wounds. They proceeded to lure their younger siblings out of hiding and brutally murdered them. 12-year-old Daniel, 7-year-old Christopher, and 5-year-old Victoria. Their 2-year-old sister was unharmed, reportedly because they decided to overlook her. The police were contacted when 12-year-old Daniel, just before he was murdered, fearfully dialed 911, reporting that his brothers were attacking their family. He couldn't give out the address as the line went dead during the call. Upon arrival, police found the 13-year-old sister injured outside the home and discovered the bodies inside. The brothers were apprehended shortly after, hiding in a wooded area near their home, covered in dirt and blood. In 2016, Robert Bever pleaded guilty to all charges and received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Michael Bever's trial concluded in May 2018, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. As of March 2025, Michael Bever and his brother have served approximately 9.5 years of his sentence. Joseph B. Spencer. On September 3, 2012, in Doddridge County, West Virginia, 16-year-old Joseph B. Spencer fatally shot his father, 49-year-old Frederick Arthur Spencer, his mother, 47-year-old Dixie Lee Spencer and his 9-year-old sister, Patience Spencer, at their family home near West Union with his father's firearm. His father was a seasoned pilot for UPS, and his mother was a respected science teacher at Ritchie County Middle School, and young Patience was a student at Doddridge County Elementary School. After the incident, Joseph himself contacted the authorities to report the shootings. He was taken into custody and initially held at a juvenile detention center in Parkersburg. Given the severity of the crime, the case was transferred to adult court. In January 2014, Joseph Spencer pleaded guilty to 3 counts of first-degree murder. The plea agreement included a recommendation for mercy, allowing for the possibility of parole. Judge Tim Sweeney sentenced Joseph to 3 life terms in prison. 2 of these terms were ordered to run consecutively, and the 3rd concurrently, making Joseph eligible for parole after serving 30 years. As of March 2025, Joseph Spencer has served approximately 13 years of his sentence. He will be eligible for parole in 2042, after completing the mandatory 30-year period. Thank you guys for watching. Personally, I think these teens deserve the capital punishment they all got. What do you think? Leave a comment below.